what's up, guys? Happy Monday, happy Valentine's Day, and happy NBA All-Star Week, man. We are in the thick of it. We got to get it going and hopefully capitalize on this final week before the All-Star break. Make some money, make some PrizePicks money, and enjoy a couple days off. We still got the Daytona 500. I got a birthday coming up this weekend, but nonetheless, it should be a lot of fun. Let's get Quinn up in her. Unmute. Quinn, our
just
Monday
gotta keep attacking
special.
these Bulls Spurs.
Oh, I gotta Bam. You guys good? Can I interrupt just a second?
Yeah.
Just a second. I'm gonna put you on live YouTube. Quinn, our Monday special, Mr. Monday. What's up, dude? Did you enjoy Super Bowl weekend?
I enjoy Super Bowl weekend.
Yeah.
Well, I might have enjoyed it a little bit more if I could have got my PrizePicks cards in, but since they have like a gazillion new people, I guess it crashed the site. I couldn't, I got to wait to the last minute for whatever reason. So around 6 o'clock, I started trying to get my stuff in, and nothing was going in. I'm like, "Are you serious right now?" And I tried going on the just a regular website, and it just wouldn't happen. So yeah, I stayed up. I watched the halftime show, thoroughly enjoyed it, of course, and I went to sleep after that.
Yeah, I understand. There was a little like Twitter controversy. There's a certain demographic of people that didn't quite care for the halftime show. Perhaps.
I'm 41 years old, so that's in my wheelhouse.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I every year there's like a debate of what did you think about it. I always just enjoy it, man. Just shut up and enjoy it, and
Right.
I did. It was fun. Although I have half a mind to do a bit where I start a stream upside down like 50 Cent. But we'll see.
Go for it. That'd be lovely.
Let's see, man. I have to do some some CGI or something. I just flip the camera upside down. Also joined by Josh, our Bay. Okay, I meant like San Francisco, the Bay Area. Okay, wow. I mean, it is Valentine's Day, but I already have a Bay. I'm sorry, Josh.
You're good, man. You're good.
You ready for tonight's big Monday night slate of props? We just got Giannis doubtful. How you feel about that?
Yeah, we were just briefly talking about that. It's we got to sort through some things on this big slate for sure.
Yeah, should be a lot of fun to break down. I don't think we'll get any Bucks lines until Giannis is officially deemed out later today. But what can you do? We are live. Shout out to Chris Smith, Mia Moore, my Valentine's in the chat. J. Cole says he's got a new beat for me. Okay, all right, let me hear it. Send it to me on Twitter. What up, Goat? Took down the FanDuel 10K tournament. Let's go, Goat. Congratulations. Chris Smith, Logan in the chat. Logan says, "Hey yo." Oh man, let's start hopping through these lobbies here and see what we might come up with in terms of some props to stream. As always, brought to you by RunDFS.com. If you guys want the ever-evolving takes when it comes to props and projections, or just the community to talk things through, go to RunDFS.com, click VIP memberships, find a pass that's right for you. Good little week to grab a week pass in, and I will try and get some Daytona coverage for our days off. We shall see. But for tonight, you can get the spreadsheet open, and then we have this companion Discord, the premium Discord, probably worth the price of admission alone. We have the pre-lock voice chats. I'm in there. The crew's in there talking DFS and props, and then of course the PrizePicks and props channel. And it's not just basketball, man. We try and knock out what we can knock out. I've had some success this weekend with esports. And that's just weird. The other day I was sitting on the couch. We were watching the Super Bowl. It was yesterday, and I had won $300 from League of Legends cards that I clearly know nothing about. So shout out to Jake for the League of Legends fire, making me $300 while I'm watching the Super Bowl. You can't go wrong with that, right? What up, Scott? Scott says I needed one more Uzoma reception last night. Let's hit big. Yeah, what can you do? Yo, shout out to PrizePicks for that Odell special, right? They said if if you lost a card on Odell, they were gonna make it up to you. So they're doing incredible things over there. What up, Lenny? What up, Immense? I like the intro music. Don't change it. May not. I have dreams and aspirations to maybe have a new setup on the other side of the All-Star break in terms of stream overlays, but not so much this stream. Maybe with the other stream. I think this stream looks nice. The orange, it pops. Nice little different. Fits the price picks, the mantra. But I do need a better three guest setup. But anyway, let's talk about tonight's slate, and then we'll start prop hunting here. We got about 40 minutes to peruse the lobbies. Pistons at the Wizards, 218.5 total. The Nets hosting the Kings, 228.5 total. Kings road favorites here by 2.5. Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox, the new anchors of that offense. While the Brooklyn Nets are still looking for an identity here, they have a ton of games in the not so distant future, and many of them will not feature Kyrie Irving. They'll be waiting for Ben Simmons to be ready to play for them. I don't know what they're going to do with their front court here. They have an embarrassment of riches, and then perhaps just a traffic jam. Nick Claxton, Andre Drummond, Blake Griffin, LaMarcus Aldridge, all potentially pieces that could see minutes in that front court, so they're going to be kind of hard to call. But I do have a curiosity with Patty Mills and Seth Curry, so maybe we'll talk about them. The Knicks hosting the Thunder, 207 total. It's a 10-point spread, one of many double-digit point spreads on today's slate. I put Julius Randle on the cover because, Quinn, I want to get your thoughts here in just a second on what you think about Randle here. I love picking on bigs against the Thunder front court. And there's no RJ Barrett. We get the Raptors, 40 minutes apiece against the Pelicans. I don't have a single blemish on the injury report for the Raptors. CJ McCollum, newly acquired Pelican, coming off a huge game. We'll see if he can keep that momentum going. We also got the Spurs at the Bulls. Spurs life without Derek White has been nice for DeJounte Murray. And then the Bulls are looking like they're going to be without Zach LaVine for a little bit longer, and that has created that much more usage and opportunity for DeRozan, Dosunmu, Vucevic. So we'll look at those. Blazers at the Bucks. We just got Bucks listing Giannis Antetokounmpo as doubtful. Unlikely that we'll have Bucks props today, or at least on this stream. But that was one of those double-digit point spreads. Started at 15. We'll see if it goes down a little bit. But we know when Giannis can't play, Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday usually pop and pick up an insane amount of permanent production boost, and also just that much more usage. Magic at the Nuggets is going to be underwhelming. Rockets at the Utah Jazz, underwhelming. Look at all these double-digit point spreads, and it all ends tonight with the Warriors at the Clippers, 6.5 point spread. So that's what we're dealing with. That's what you stepped in. That was no. Quinn, let's start with the Knicks here. Julius Randle did not get traded, and in his last week of action, to his credit, not just 40-minute games against the Blazers without RJ Barrett, but how about the Denver Nuggets, back-to-back altitude, Utah to Denver, probably the toughest back-to-back in basketball, which was game 3 in 4 nights. Just got it done. 20-plus real points in his last 5 games, double-digit rebounds in 4 of those last 5 games, and then, of course, without RJ Barrett, a little bit more solidified usage leaning his way. He's going against a Thunder front court that we have been picking on really all year long, and they've done nothing recently to make me not want to keep picking on them. He starts off today at a 46 fantasy point projection on PrizePicks. I currently have him at 52, so I got about a 6-point swing. But the Thunder front court, they really are bad at everything. What are your thoughts on some Julius Randle action today? And is this last year's Randle back in the cut, or was he trying to showcase for a trade that never happened?
Well, I don't know if it's a sign that last year's Randle is back, but as far as today goes, if I'm gonna attack any Randle prop, it's gonna be the rebounding prop. I know it looks high. I think it's 11.5 the last time I checked. I mean, OKC gives up the most rebounds to the power forward position, and you want to watch also if Mitchell Robinson is in or out tonight, because if Mitchell Robinson's out, that gives them even more rebounding opportunities. It'll make me really, really like this prop. But I like it either way, if Mitchell Robinson happens to play, I'll also probably
The cut, the
use
lag.
implied total on the board, and so I wouldn't put all my chips into this game, but I will have definitely some sprinkling of Randall rebounding props.
Let's go, Josh. Do you have any early, what's the word, infatuation with any Knicks props against the Thunder? It's gonna be one of the lower pace, lower total games, but we at least get a couple of guys, or more so Julius Randle with 37 plus expected minutes in a competitive game.
Yeah, I'm with Quinn. The rebounds is probably the most enticing, especially like you said if Mitch Rob is out. If Mitch Rob is in, let's play a scenario where if he's in, could we get on his props? Because he this is a prime spot for him as well. So
We could. I don't see any Mitchell Robinson props right now, so they might be.
He's questionable.
Yeah.
yeah, I was just playing like if he is in like a late ruling, could we get on some of his props? I guess depending on what they are.
Yeah, I would be looking for fantasy points around maybe they give us 27 fantasy points, and on top of positive rebounding matchup, the Thunder do allow amongst the most blocks per game. And we know Mitchell Robinson can throw a block party, averages 1.6 blocks per game. And those plus threes will add up rather nicely over on PrizePicks. So definitely something to jot down for taking notes here. I would say on the Thunder side, I'm not running to do much here targeting against the Knicks, but it is worth noting that the few game 30-minute limit for Josh Giddey appears to be up. He went to 33 minutes against Chicago. The quote was they wanted to keep him around 30 for a couple of games. Didn't quite know how many games that would be. Got to 33 last game. Maybe that was an accident, but something to keep an eye on because he's been crushing per minute. But I do think in the grand scheme of a parlay style wagering, I don't know that I want to overload Thunder and maybe not so much Knicks either, but especially on the Thunder side. So let's move on here. Looking elsewhere on this slate, I'm trying to think of a pop spot here. I guess the Raptors at the Pelicans becomes an intriguing spot because the Raptors are really, really healthy, all things considered. No blemishes on that injury report, as I noted earlier. And I love targeting Raptors when they all play 37 plus minutes a game. So whenever I can find those type of minutes in a soft matchup, I do like to shop around. Gary Trent is listed at 19.5 points. What else is sticking out here? Fred VanVleet is at 6.5 assists. That's a line that he hasn't cleared in 2 of his last 3, ironically. And then Pascal Siakam has been flourishing as of late. He's listed with a 44 fantasy point score. I got him currently at 48, so I'm not getting massive gaps here, but I do feel like 40 minutes against the Pelicans is something that I want a little bit of exposure to. Josh, did you have any Raptors lines sticking out to you?
I did not yet. I was more honing in on a few other games, but I get it with this matchup. I'm just scared with the running it back with the Pelicans on their side, with McCollum being his new role there and going. I never like attacking the Raptors' athletic length and defense. So, but I could definitely get on some Raptors here. I'll just have to look more into their props. So.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised that VanVleet's assist results have been so low. 28% assist rate over 37 minutes. You feel like maybe he should be pushing 9, 10 a game, but not quite the case as of late. So
I think Siakam has been hurting his assists. He's been getting a lot, and I think that's definitely affected him. So
makes sense. Quinn, anything on this game, and then I'll let y'all steer the ship to the next one because there's a lot of awkward games today, a lot of lopsided stuff. So I want to lean on what we like the most. But Quinn, any Pelicans and Raptors love?
Yeah, there wasn't anything that I saw in my just like initial like 50-foot kind of view of the slate. So like Josh, I think that there are better spots to possibly look at. But I mean, I'll dig into it further as we get closer to time.
All right. I'll just ask. Josh, do you want to talk about Bulls and Spurs?
Yeah, I
All
always
right.
like talking with them. Yeah,
All right, so let's set the mood here on Valentine's Day.
yeah.
Derek White no longer on the team. I'm gonna start whispering. DeJounte Murray, an absolute monstrous fantasy play every day. On the Bulls
Rawr.
side, no Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine represents 24, 25 real points a game, 35 plus minutes. Still no Lonzo Ball, still no Alex Caruso. 234 and a half points is our total. 3.5 point spread in favor of the home team, Chicago Bulls. And if revenge is your thing, hey, DeRozan had a cup of coffee with the San Antonio Spurs. I'm sure he'll be looking at Popovich with some smiles tonight. Starting with the Spurs side, I guess. Looking at life with DeJounte Murray and without Derek White. If we do an on-off court tool run over here via NBA Wowie, a feature of addmorefunds.com, exclamation point AMF in chat. We'll take off Derek White here. The official usage number for DeJounte Murray on the season is 28.5% with a 45.2% assist rate and a 1.6 fantasy point per minute production rate. Yeah, Desumu, pretty scrappy defender, but DeJounte Murray stuffs the stat sheet, can get it done in all facets. I've got an early projection on Murray at 54 PrizePicks fantasy points. They're listing him at 50. They're smartened up a little bit, but that's still a number that he can eclipse. And if you tell me the Spurs are implied for 115 plus real points tonight with those numbers on Murray, I gotta like looking his way early on, and then of course knowing that the Bulls front court can still be a point of weakness. Maybe Keldon Johnson, maybe Jakob Poeltl can pop positively, no pun intended. I've got Poeltl at 38 fantasy points. They got him at 33, so I'm getting a little +5, +6 in a couple spots today. Josh, I'll start with you. Spurs side of the coin, what stands out the most? Is it DeJounte Murray 10 assists?
Yeah, actually, so it depends what kind of route you want to go here. If you want to game stack this and you want to attack multiple players, on the Spurs side, I think the 10 assists would be one I would get on. I would pair it with Pirtle's 12.5 points because we know we've talked about it in the past in the stream about Vooch's pick and roll defense being very lackluster and weak and giving it up to centers like Pirtle who utilize the pick and roll a lot with Murray. So that's a really nice positive correlation. And then if you wanted to get on Keldon Johnson, who's been very productive since Derek White's been gone, and even right before Derek White left, his production has gone up. I don't know if it's something to do with his 3-point shooting improving, but he's definitely eclipsing this 15-point prop that they've had him at for a while now quite often. And this is a great spot for him as well. So maybe you could do like a three-way pair there with DeJounte 10.5 assists and then Keldon and Vooch's Pirtle's point props.
Yeah, double-digit shot attempts in his really any game he touches the court, Keldon Johnson. And many of those shots are going to be from beyond the arc. 8, 9, 6, 8 3-point attempts in his last 5 games. So certainly bodes well. As you mentioned, if he's hitting threes at a higher clip, it's going to be scoring at a higher rate as well. Quinn, did you have some favorite Spurs props to target today?
My favorite one was going to be that Keldon Johnson point prop. The Bulls have struggled all year defending power forwards, and I think that and we've also seen Keldon Johnson kind of, like you said, clear that point prop. I think last 4 games he's cleared it each time, so I'm going to go back to the well again.
All right, let's look over on the other side. So if I set the DeRozan real point prop at $8 million today, the over might
the only way you'll
live.
see red.
The over might still be live. This man is having I think he's officially leading the league in real points scored. Hey, no Zach LaVine, not a bad thing for his usage. We'll put DeRozan on the court. We'll take Zach LaVine off. We'll actually do a couple things. Let's add to it. Let's take Lonzo off. Let's take Caruso off.
Javante Green.
the usage monster Javante. Maybe I don't know if I want to take that one off because it might not give us many minutes. Let's put DeRozan and Vooch on, and then I guess Dosunmu on because we might be talking about assist props on Dosunmu. I've never seen such a volatile assist projection line on any guy.
Right.
But whenever Dosunmu, like when Dosunmu's in and they have like Levine and everybody, you can get Dosunmu props at like 4.5, 5, and then when Levine's out, you can give him 7.5, 8.5,
Yeah.
and he's still, he's like, look at this, he had 0 against Phoenix. So yeah, the point guard spot, just if we let DVP tell the story, has actually been pretty fruitful against the San Antonio Spurs. But on the season, here's how the numbers shake out when we put DeRozan, Vooch, Dosunmu on the court, taking off Levine, Ball, and Caruso. Dosunmu has a 25% assist rate, DeRozan a 30% usage rate, while also having a 23% assist rate. And Nikola Vucevic, 27% usage rate with nearly a 1.3 PrizePicks fantasy point per minute production. So with this 230 total, and hey, the Bulls have been in some pretty high scoring games, so have the Spurs lately. With this 230 total, you mentioned how you could probably get away with 3 Spurs in the same card, stay positively correlated. You can do the same with the Bulls as well, and without processing the lines themselves, you feel like you look at these numbers and you can get behind Dosunmu assists, DeRozan points, and Vucevic fantasy points just based on who's at the top of the podium in each category. So I guess I'll start with you, Josh. Looking at DeRozan real points, it is so hard to bet anyone at over 27 real points, nonetheless 31.5. But if there's a time to do it, it is without Levine against the Spurs in a 230 plus total. Do we feel better about some of these other numbers, like 43.5 PRA, 48 fantasy points? I currently have DeRozan at 53. So that +4, +5 has been pretty consistent all day. With any Bulls numbers you want to start with, I tend not to get overly enamored with high numbers, but man, DeRozan just keeps doing it.
Yeah, he is, and last couple of games I just been fading it and thinking he can't keep it up, and yeah, he's keeping it up. So, I if I was gonna pick one, I feel most comfortable with his points because he's a natural scorer. That's his forte, right? He's a hooper, puts the ball in the net. I know his assist rate will go up with Levine out somewhat, but it's been hanging around 5 or 6. And then you got to, worry about him getting boards from Vooch and Pirtle. So I would stick with points. And then for other Bulls, for Vooch's props, could definitely get on his fantasy score again. I've been writing that, especially with Levine out. And I also been liking his assist prop. I don't know what happened in the OKC game. That was the one game I did not get to watch. But other than that, especially when Levine's out or one of these other guys are out, like Io, his assists go way up. And it seems like this OKC game, he just maybe got the ball and was able to score at a higher rate, so he didn't need to pass it. So I'll have to look into that more. But I always like his assist rate when one of these guys are out on the backcourt.
Dosunmu 7.5 assists, 9 and 10 his last 2 games, 7 and 14. That Phoenix game hit him with that young 0. Did he play full minutes in that game, or is that the game he got injured? Let's see, Phoenix. He played 33 minutes, no assists in that game. Imagine that. But 7.5 does feel like a line that he beats more than he doesn't in the last 10, and then without Levine, certainly bodes well. And like I said, looking at the DVP chart here, when looking at point guards against the San Antonio Spurs, the Spurs are allowing a top 10 amount of fantasy points per game, and Derek White was one of the best on-ball defenders at the guard position. No longer have to worry about that. Yeah, Jay Rich ain't no punk, but I don't think he's going to be that much of a factor. So Dosunmu 7.5 assists seems pretty live here. And then we also have Dosunmu 30.5 fantasy points. And looking at my fantasy point projections to PrizePicks, there's a lot of +5s and +6s here and there, but I'm getting a 7-point gap in my Dosunmu projection versus theirs, maybe 40 minutes is too much, but that's what I put on Dosunmu this far out. So 30.5 fantasy points at potentially 4 minutes, I would need, a 0.85 fantasy point per minute production rate, and this is something I'm pretty confident that he'll clear more often than he won't, just being on the court in this pace of a game with this high of a total. So maybe the Sumu fantasy points is something I might get behind as one of the stronger leans here. Quinn, any favorite Bulls picks here?
Well, I would have put the Sunmu kind of on the fringe, with those assists and possibly those fantasy points. But, with you saying that there's a 7-point gap, in projections, might have to take a little closer look at that and possibly consider playing that. But my favorite would definitely be that DeRozan point total. I know that it's high, but like I said, he's been clearing it some more. So again, that's just one where I just might ride the wave. The high game total, gives me a little, puts me at ease at picking a guy, to score over 31.5 points. So I think that point total for DeRozan is the one that I like the most. And also, as Josh mentioned, Vucevic, he's been clearing the fantasy point prop too. So as long as it's, and I haven't looked at it, as long as it's in like the low to mid 40s, I'll have some interest in that as well.
46, yeah. Well, it's at 46, but what I want to ask you, Quinn, what do you think? Is 13 rebounds in this matchup too high, even though it's Vooch, he can eat the boards, and Spurs being a bottom 5 rebounding team?
Well, I mean, that rebounding prop, again, it checks boxes similar to Randall's spot, right? So
right,
that one should be in play as well.
Okay.
I hate betting 13. Like Rudy, like I said it the other, like Rudy Gobert could be 13 against the Rockets, and I'd still not feel good about it. Like I just hate expensive tags and in a parlay setting more so than anything.
Right.
Like, not only does it feel extra, but he's a little monster. So all right, that's the Bulls.
I think you could put like the blanket over it, as you say, and take either his PRA or his fantasy points, and you get the same kind of deal. And even if he doesn't get the rebounds, if you do fantasy points at PRA, you might get a 25+ point game, or you get a couple blocks or something like that. If you do the fantasy points and you get there either way.
Yeah, I definitely don't mind throwing a net over the fantasy points here for Vooch. So I'll take Vooch, Dosunmu, DeJounte exposure. I'll probably kind of spin the wheel, have different cards, but keep it correlated. But yeah, on this slate to have a 230 plus total that is within a couple buckets spread, it's going to stand out. It's one of the more sought after games here. I do think it's priced somewhat appropriately, but it's still something I can get behind. So I definitely don't mind a bunch of fantasy point props. Josh, did you have an end cap on this? It sounded like you were trying to say something before I move on.
I want to touch on Vooch's rebounds just because he's been a monster with it, and it being kind of at the fringe of 13. I want to hear Quinn's thoughts.
Okay, yeah, that's so high. All right, so we can't really discuss Bucks without lines out.
Right.
Rockets at the Jazz were usually Jesus H. I made that hypothetical about Gobert and the Rockets. That was somewhat of a joke. I didn't really process that he was on the slate here against the literal Rockets. But that's a 15-point spread. It is a 230 total. But unless it's like Donovan Mitchell real points, it's just refading 15-point spreads. We're looking at first half props for a team like Houston, because Houston's one of those teams we always attack. But man, this is one of the more lopsided spreads. Josh, what do you think?
Well, so I've been watching the Jazz games lately when Mitchell being back, and I can't figure him out. I need to see more games, more sample size, because Mitchell will that one game he took over, what was it, Knicks game? He just took over and scored. In the last few games, he's just playing. I want to sit back and distribute and let other people score. And they've been really getting a lot of their points in the paint from Udoka and Whiteside. So I'm on hold off mode right now on the Jazz. I get the matchup. Mm-hmm. I just can't figure them out. I can't pinpoint who's going to be the scorer. Bojan went off against the Warriors, and then he went 2 of 12 against the Magic. So yeah, I can't figure him out right now.
Yeah, same here. Quinn, you didn't have any secret nuggets. I know Quinn seems more likely to bet first halves than maybe me and Josh have been. Quinn, did you have any secret nuggets for the Jazz Rockets game?
Well, I mean, I don't think there's anything, secret to the first half props like, the Clint Capella situation.
Yeah.
But if I was to get into that game, then the first half route is probably the road that I take because, like I said, a 15-point spread, it's the Rockets. So yeah, something like, Mitchell's point prop,
Hmm.
which I'd
Hey,
like full game, but I think I'd go first half. But as far as a full game prop, don't sleep on Mike Conley. I think his PRA was down there at 20.5, and that seems a
Okay.
little light for
Yeah,
this matchup.
that's fair. How
Donovan
many
Mitchell.
is Whiteside?
Donovan Mitchell, 12 and a half points in the first half is his prop. You mentioned Whiteside. So Gobert has not played yet. He's been out for quite a while. And in his absence, Whiteside has curtain called a pair of really strong games,
Yeah, crush it.
17, 18 rebounds. If Gobert is eased back into the lineup, even if he doesn't get full minutes on the first run, it would kind of just like kill everyone else for me. It says he participated in
Oh,
shoot around earlier today, but he
oh, okay,
remains questionable. You wonder
okay.
if if Gobert's an anchor of your team, anchor of your defense. Do you feel like you need Rudy Gobert against the Houston Rockets? Probably not. So
No,
we'll see if they err on the side of caution one more time. And if he does,
yeah,
maybe we do get some late night Whiteside Udoka props. Whiteside's been the bench guy and just been going off. And yeah. So a 15-point spread, it could go that way. Looking back before, I always like to end with Warriors games because that's your
yeah,
your expertise.
yeah.
Looking back at the early two games here, Wizards again without Bradley Beal. Porzingis is going to be out. Gafford is still out. They're up against the Detroit Pistons. Pistons pretty bad at just about everything. Porous in each category. Offensive, defensive efficiency pretty poor. Kyle Kuzma is the guy I've been targeting in this split, and I've been looking at rebounds. Today his
Mhm.
rebound prop is wait, I got the first half still
Eight
open.
and a half.
8.5.
Yeah,
How do you feel about that? Because eight and a
I
half
like it.
rebounds is it's on the fringe, but it's something that we've seen him do.
Yeah,
And Thomas Bryant stretches out a little bit more, so
yeah.
I'm interested in that. He hasn't hit this in in 4 of his last 5, so maybe a lot of game log watchers will be soured. But Miami's a tough matchup, Phoenix a tough matchup. I think it was a blowout, and Philadelphia also a tough front court. So yeah, I don't
Well,
mind that Kuzma call here, and Kuzma also at 35.5 PRA, 41 fantasy points, and I currently have Kuzma at 48, so about a 7-point swing there. I do like some Kuzma action here, and then we got a little bit more information from the potential rotation of the Washington Wizards in that last game, the debut of the returning but new Ish Smith. He played 19 minutes in his first game back with the Wizards here. Maybe he grows into that, but looks like Corey Kispert and probably Kyle Kuzma are the two guys we expect to play the most minutes. And Kuzma is probably the most alluring guy for me. Josh, this rebounds your favorite Kuzma prop, or do you want to spread it around?
yeah, I would say the rebound because they did bump his PRA up quite a bit. It was usually around 30, 31, and now it's I believe at what 35 and a half.
Yeah.
So it it's definitely right around that fringe territory of where I would expect him to end in the night with. So rebounds for me, just because we always been attacking Detroit on rebounds because they are the overall worst rebounding team in the league.
Yeah, and in this split, right? No Trezl, no Dinwiddie, no Bradley Beal,
Yeah,
Kuzma on. We're working with a 25% usage rate, a 26% assist rate. That's higher than I thought it was. And the rebound rate, especially defensively, over 28%. So definitely bodes pretty well here for Kuzma against the Pistons. Shouldn't expect much in lieu of pace, but the Pistons, if they're able to throw out Cunningham, Bay, Jeremy Grant, I feel like they should stay competitive long enough, strong enough against this Wizards team that I wouldn't even be surprised if the Pistons stole one here. So I do like
yeah.
extrapolating 37 plus minutes of Kyle Kuzma. Quinn, any favorite Wizards or Pistons props from one of the early games?
It's probably a game that I'm not gonna have much interest in. I mean, I might do. I'll take a deeper look at it, but again, just as of right now, it's not not one I'm gonna mess with.
All right.
Well, I got one from the Pistons. I can get on if you want to add one from the Pistons side. Isaiah Stewart is that they keep him at 8.5 points, while the DK sportsbooks and FanDuel sportsbooks have him at 9.5 points. He's been clearing that, and has been efficient when given his normal run. Is not in foul trouble, and I feel like this is a good spot, like your Thomas Bryant open door game theory, right? So 8.5 points, I can definitely get on for him.
Yeah, 9.5 rebounds as well, and that's something he's cleared in all but that Memphis game. Memphis, tough interior defense. I don't expect that against the Wizards. That when Kyle Kuzma is your best rebounder, no knock on Kyle Kuzma, but probably shouldn't be the best rebounder. I do like looking at some Isaiah Stewart action. I like the
maybe
rebound.
It's PRA too. Yeah,
PRA as well. Marvin Bagley might introduce himself into this mix, which might be something to keep an eye on. Maybe we don't overrate it, but I'm interested. On the other side, real quick, Raul Neto has a 26% assist rate in the split with Kuzma and the other cats off the court, and they had him at, I think they had him at 4.5 assists. So unless they swap him and Ish Smith, which they might, I think 4.5 assists might be something that is attackable, but not something we don't run to play Raul Neto props in a parlay setting. So let's get caught up on chat here. Yo, chat, shout out to you guys. We're about to hit 100 viewers, man. If you guys do me a favor, hit that thumbs up, man. If you guys got your favorite props, throw them in chat for a bigger slate. Doesn't feel like we have those lock core plays just yet. And hopefully they start being more obvious. I think the Bucks side is going to be something that starts creating anchors, if you will, for some cards tonight. Hater Alonso says Devin Vassell should be a spot to attack when they release those props. And Kobe White. Kobe, I can see that. Usually I do like to attack Kobe White threes. Whenever he gets a shot into the lineup, if he's priced at 2.5 threes, we know he'll chuck a lot of threes. What up, C-Wiz? What up, Stefan? Kuzma points or Kuzma assists. I think I'll be spinning the wheel on most of the Kuzma props, but the fantasy point and the rebound probably be my two highest exposed picks there. Wayne's World says Biggs versus Denver kill on rebounds because Jokic is out on the wing running the offense. Williams and Horford 27 rebounds against Jokic. Definitely good to note. Looking at the Denver matchup today for against Jokic, Wendell Carter and Mo Bamba. I didn't plan on getting to that game, but that is something to keep an eye on. I know both Bamba and Wendell can be really efficient rebounders. Shout out Stefan says Valanciunas rebounds, Siakam points, McCollum points. All right, McCollum might have he might have hit that switch. Really good real life game his last time out. Stewart's been cleared and everything. Yeah. I got 17.5 points from Middleton and 19.5 for Drew. Is that from the books, or did they post them? They didn't post that yet. Is that like adjusted sports books lines from like DK or something? I don't mind that. All right. The Nets. I'm gonna talk a little bit more about the Nets on the next show because I don't have a clue what they're gonna do tonight without Kyrie Irving, and more so in that front court with guys like Drummond, Aldridge, Blake, Claxton. They got so many people that trip over each other. But maybe we get a little bit more solidified information from the Kings. They traded away Tyrese Halliburton for Domantas Sabonis, and then De'Aaron Fox has kind of flourished here. Fox in his last couple of games without Halliburton, likely to get you 20-plus shot attempts, a couple of them from three, but most of them not. Doesn't do much else, but a lot of shot attempts and a couple peripherals. And then Sabonis on the flip side here, he's uprooted Rashawn Holmes and basically been their guy here, 34 minutes in his first two games, 40-plus fantasy points on DK. Looking at these Kings lines, Fox is coming in with a 22.5 real point prop, a 38.5 fantasy score, and Sabonis is working with 18.5 real points, 5.5 assists, which is interesting because we know with his skill set that could be kind of low, especially if Fox is going to play a little bit more like a pure scorer. And then they've priced Sabonis at 42 fantasy points. So my early numbers on Fox, 44 fantasy points, Sabonis 50. I do get a little bit of a gap here, almost 8 points between my Sabonis projection and theirs. So maybe I lean that Sabonis fantasy score. But Quinn, I'll throw it to you, man. Did you have any interest in some Fox or Sabonis lines tonight?
I do have interest in De'Aaron Fox points prop. Again, we got Brooklyn here, bottom 5 against the point guard position. Obviously with a Mills, and we presume a Mills Seth Curry backcourt, little small backcourt. I think that plays into De'Aaron Fox's hands. He's been clearing his point prop, since the trade happened. It's been actually like over 25 points, I think, the last 4 games. Yeah. But anyway, I do like the Fox points prop. As far as Sabonis goes, in the past we've seen him torch Brooklyn before. Obviously, it's a different team, so I'd have.
Oh, the McDonald's Wi-Fi.
Sacramento King, so he'd be definitely another one, but definitely Fox points. I could see that being like a core kind of prop for me.
Yeah, last 4 games of Fox on the court without Halliburton, he has cleared 26 points, or 25.5 points. So it looks pretty good for him. Never really lean on him for big assist games, so I might definitely lean points as his core table setter for his real life games. But yeah, this Nets defense certainly looks like it's going to be susceptible, and they have lost quite a few pieces as of late. Josh, what's standing out to you with Nets and Kings?
Yeah, I always liked attacking the Nets in the front court, but like you said, they have a lot of different moving new pieces, so I need to look into that more for Sabonis. But Harrison Barnes, I'm going to keep riding this train, man. Like, they keep putting him at 16 to 18 point props, and he just keeps crushing it over 20 points a game since this new team has developed. So do we see it keep going tonight? Probably against the Nets, right? What do you guys think?
Yeah, Nets are certainly a team we want to pick on. Nets have a real chance of not making the playoffs, even with this trade coming in. They've got, I think, 8 games left that Kyrie would play based on the current stipulations. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's less than 10. And they have one of the tougher schedules down in the next couple outings. But in the couple games of sample size, really we'll say the 46 minutes of sample size between Fox, Barnes, and Sabonis on the court at the same time, these are crazy. Harrison Barnes, 29% usage rate. What?
Wow.
De'Aaron Fox, 37%, and Sabonis, 26%, with Sabonis clearing 30% assist rate. Obviously, 46 minutes, we're going to get more neutral, more stabilized numbers the longer the sample size. You would think so, at least, with Mo Harkless and Justin Holiday not expected to be, big pieces of the offense. But Harkless has been having some big games in his own right. But based on short sample size, it does look like Harrison Barnes has an opportunity to be part of a big 3, if you will, in Sacramento. So I could aim for the bushes with you on some Harrison Barnes. Did you? What was your favorite? Is it PRA or points as something that you're leaning on the most?
Points. I've been rolling with that. It's been very fruitful. So
he's been clearing PRA pretty easily too. So yeah, I'm fine. I can get down with that. Don't mind that at all. Looking at chat before we move on. Jay says Steph dropping the clips off. Let's go. What about Barnes fantasy? Looks like every line for Harrison Barnes, if you're a fan of recency bias, looks a little bit soft. I think the PRA and the points is probably the 2 that I want to attack. I don't think Barnes has been a big blocks and steals guy. Let's see. Barnes. Harry B. Still here, still there, but enough turnover. I'd probably just stick with the PRA here. All right. Last game on the docket, then Chad, I want to hear your favorite calls, and then I'll be back in about 10 minutes with a DFS breakdown show. We're gonna dive really deep in each game. It's all about setting new heights, man. We've got a new record of views on this show, looking like we're sitting at 120 plus. So you guys appreciate that. Hit that thumbs up. And then, of course, we'll be back tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central for another Prize Pick show. And then, of course, the DFS show follows. Josh, your expertise, man. The Golden State Warriors at the Clippers. Golden State ending up a 6-point favorite, right? Not a massive double-digit spread like other spots. Clippers have been scrappy. They made some moves that, for me, were kind of reminiscent of like the Braves at the baseball deadline, bringing in Norman Powell. But holy cow, man! 1 step forward, 2 steps backwards. Norman Powell breaks his foot. So the Clippers are they're back to the drawing board here, and we're looking at a lineup that might be Reggie Jackson, Terrence Mann, Marcus Morris, Nick Batum, Ivica Zubac, and Norman Powell's a guy that here and there will give you 20 real points. Now, if you want to stay competitive against the Golden State Warriors, you got to make up for that. So maybe Reggie Jackson is a catalyst in doing that. One, do you think it's disrespectful that your Warriors are just 6-point favorites in this spot against a team where Luka Doncic, couldn't miss from downtown? Now you get 2 of the greatest 3-point shooters of all time out there. What are your early thoughts on this game? And then do you have some Prize Picks fire for us on the Warriors side?
Yeah, Clippers always play them tough. I know it's a new Clippers team we're looking at, but it is in LA. So that I think that helps with the spread being what it is. The Warriors, just continue to not shoot that well. Particularly Steph. His shot volume I assume is going to keep going down. I think he's going to play more of a distributor role. Because of his shooting being so bad lately, like the Lakers game, I predicted that he would shoot less and look to pass more, which he did, and Klay dominated the shot volume, and he was a leading scorer and the leading shooter.
Yeah, he had one of those Klay Thompson quarters, right?
Yeah,
the fourth quarter went nuclear.
Yeah, so I expect to see that. I think if Steph's few first shots aren't falling, he's going to look to distribute more. So you can get on that 6.5 assist. He would have cleared it the last 5 games if the Jazz game didn't blow out early, and he didn't have really one to pass to because Klay was out. So and no one was making their shots. So that's why he didn't. He had an off assist day. So I could get on the 6.5 assists and pair it with Klay. I think Klay's starting to find his groove back. He was pissed ever since he missed that shot against the Knicks, that last-second shot to send it overtime. I think he's just going to keep chucking it. Like I said, I do like them both better when they play at home. They feed off that energy. Their shots definitely go in more, but he's going to be needed in this matchup. I think the Clippers, like you said, are a gritty team, kind of like OKC. I think they keep it close through the majority of the game. So I like that. That pairing, and then I like Looney's rebound. It's only 7.5. We've seen that go up all the way to 10 before, and we always like attacking the Clippers for rebounding, especially in the paint. So I could get on the 7.5 rebound, and then Wiggins. They don't have his steals block posted, but that's been something we've been getting on. He's been very consistent on the defensive side of things with that. So we'll have to keep an eye out for that. Let's see if they post it, or if they've smartened up and they realize that that's been hitting pretty much every time. We'll look out for that for sure.
Yeah, Steph Curry, when he's on the court without Klay Thompson, so far this season, with Klay Thompson rather, 33% assist rate, while Klay has a 28% usage rate. So if we want to correlate some lines here, we could take Curry over 6.5 assists, and Klay Thompson, who he's up to 30 minutes in a game now. We could look at his real point prop at 18.5, and maybe pair those two together, be positively correlated. Or if we just want to throw a blanket over everything Klay does, 30 fantasy points is the line they have for him. Quinn, wrap us up with this game, and then we'll get out of here.
I don't have anything different than from what Josh said. The Looney rebounds, the prop is lower than it's normally been, so that 7.5 is something I might pounce on. And he also made a good observation with how Steph is playing, so the 6.5 assists, it might be something to look at. But real quick, since we're talking about Curry's, I want to really quick just touch on his brother. Seth Curry, they got his points prop up there for the Nets, and I think that he could be in a good point scoring spot if he's indeed the starter. in that game environment against Sacramento. I think his points props like 15.5, and I'd look at it over on that one.
Got him at 14.5.
14.5? Oh,
And
my
then
bad.
I also wonder if he runs a little bit more point to, in lieu of Patty Mills, or how they stagger that. Something to keep an eye on. Maybe a little too bold and brash to make big decisions this far out. But yes, I'm very curious to see how they use Seth Curry on the court in this split. But the Nets are going to be hard to predict. My boy Shadow Stefan says, "Do you think the Kings blow out the Nets?" I think so. The Nets have a little bit more firepower today. If Nash is going to lean on him, LaMarcus Aldridge, Drummond, Seth Curry, Patty Mills, like this isn't as bad as that Celtics situation the other day. And of course, the Kings aren't quite as good on defense as the Celtics. So I'm going to say no to a blowout, but I definitely could see the Kings being on the low side of the seesaw when it comes to points, right? So that's going to do it, guys. We just had the highest rated Prize Pick show since we've debuted it. Over 100.
To the rafters. Let's go.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
So you guys jam that thumbs up. I'm going to be back in a couple of minutes, maybe a little bit, maybe like 5-6 minutes, talking DFS, man. And then we will jump into that Discord. Make sure you're at rundfs.com. Get yourself a membership. Jump in the Discord. Be part of the pre-lock chat. And get into our favorite props as we get closer to lock. I love you guys. Good luck. God bless. Go win some money.